Assalamualaikum and good day I abide to Dr. Abdallah and my fellow friends. In this video, our group will present to you about the North Korea violation of international nuclear and human rights law. Before we go deeper into our topic, let me briefly present to you about the background of this issue first. Okay, let's restart. After World War II ended, the Korean Peninsula have been divided into two regions. With the northern region is subjugated under the Soviet sphere of influence, while the southern region is under the sponsor of the United States of America. And after the failure of the Korean War in 1950 to 1953, the North Korea under the rule of its founder Kim Il-sung have adopted and implemented an approach of ostensible diplomatic and economic self-reliance as a tool to combat external threats. For North Korea, the United States is the eternal enemy to its social system through propaganda, political, economy as well as military policies in order to achieve the unification of North Korea under Pyongyang's control. After the death of Kim Il-sung, the leadership of the country has been taken over by his son, Kim Jong-il. Under his leadership, he continued to develop its nuclear weapon and ballistic missile. In the year of 2010, Kim Jong-un has become the successor of his father Kim Jong-il. The North Korea have a long history of its military enhancement and proliferation of military arsenals such as the ballistic and long-range missile development. North Korea also have the weapon of mass destruction and constantly conduct nuclear weapon tests from the year of 2006 up to year of 2017, as well as having a great number of conventional armed forces. This become a primary concern to the international security. However, on human rights affairs, North Korea has neglected the basic human rights that it needs to provide for its people. According to Eric Ryu, 2018, stated that the North Korea has not been exercising an effective measures on treaties, although it is a member in most of United Nations human rights treaties. That's all the background that I present to you. So now I will pass to Julius to briefly present to you about the North Korea violation of the nuclear international law. That's all from me. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Julius. And my part that I'm going to discuss about you today is about the violation of North Korea against the international law. In this video, we are going to see about how North Korea violates the international law. In what terms? So far, we have two types of violations of North Korea against international law. First is the human rights. Second one is the production of nuclear weapons. Since we all know that North Korea is very curious about investing the nuclear weapons since 1950s. It's something about North Korea's they wanted to do more nuclear weapons than other countries. They want to lead the other countries with the nuclear weapons. If you trace back to 1962, North Korea committed itself so-called all forestization is where the beginning of the hyper-militarized North Korea of today. The term used for all forestization is where the beginning of the North Korea. They started about the hyper-militarized, very sophisticated nuclear weapons in 1963. In 1963, North Korea even asked the Soviet Union for help in terms of military. This help was totally rejected by Soviet Union because that time North Korea asked help about the production of nuclear weapons to Soviet Union. This is strongly disagreed by Soviet Union. Even China in 1965-1966 was rejected North Korea to develop nuclear weapons together. But in October 2006, Democratic People's Republic of Korea, which we know as DPRK, was successfully conducted underground test for nuclear weapons. This underground test by DPRK was raised questions against international law. Questions like how could North Korea can do like this, can violation about against the international law, since the international law applied is for all countries, that is beyond the borders of international political terms. This question also rises that how could North Korea violate against international law, and what causes them? Why is North Korea doing like this? It's not it's violating the international law. North Korea was even suspected of maintaining clandestine nuclear weapons development since 1980, which means they conducted a plutonium-producing Magnex nuclear reactor, which is among the nuclear weapons. This plutonium-producing Magnex nuclear reactor is the most powerful destructive of North Korea, where it is more powerful than nuclear bomb in Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Well, good day to Dr. Abdullah and my fellow classmates. Today I'm going to present about human rights violation in North Korea. First of all, North Korea is one of the poorest and least developed state, and one of the state that centrally directed and least open for economics. This is because there's no free market in North Korea. And also North Korea had penchants for secrecy and isolations. Because of this, North Korea is economically unstable at low level economic freedom index. Economic freedom index is measured by 4 categories: government size, regulatory efficiency, rule of law, and open markets. And North Korea's main focus is on military. They are obeying command economy, which means they do not develop any business affairs with other states, which is impossible for business growth or economic development, and also other opportunity, and this leads to deprivation and poverty. Based on Vienna University of Economics and Business, 60% of North Koreans are living in absolute poverty, which means household income is below certain. A person or family meets basic needs of life, which are food, shelter, healthcare, education, and safe drinking water. GDP per capita of North Korea is estimated to be $790, which is the lowest income level among the world. These statistics proven that North Korea is low-level income country. Institute of National Unification (KINU) has estimated poverty in North Korea extends about half of its population of 24 million, which is 12 million, and since 1990s until now, people who are suffering hunger does not seem to be reduced. On the other hand, children living in North Korea extremely devastating in terms of right for education and malnutrition. According to UNICEF, every children has the right to go to school and learn knowledge. But in North Korea, right of children to receive education is being violated. Based on BBC News, students in North Korea is being forced to work in farm for free, at least once a time in a month or twice a year. Children in North Korea do receive education, though some have to drop out of school earlier because to help their families who are suffering economically. As the curriculum is ruled by the political agenda of North Korea, the rights to children to learn knowledge has been demolished. And UNICEF also stated that approximately 200,000 North Korean children suffering from acute malnutrition. From that, 60,000 would have become severely malnourished, which can lead to growth stunts or even deaths. Thank you.
The issue of forced labor and modern slavery happened extensively in North Korea. It is mentioned by the statistic from the global economy stated that North Korea has a freedom labor of 5.0, which is relatively low. The Washington Post also stated that North Korea has the highest prevalence of modern slavery with 73.3% vulnerability. This is because almost 2.6 million North Koreans are treated as modern slaves. North Korean women experiencing high degree of discrimination and sexual harassment whether in workplace or in detention camps. Women's voices are being neglected by the government as there are no specific legal penalty for domestic violence occurred in North Korea. Hence, the authorities fail to provide necessary protection and justice. International community have taken necessary action in conveying their protest and dissatisfaction toward North Korean regime like violating the international law, both in terms of the nuclear law and also human rights law. The United Nations General Assembly and United Nations Security Council adopt various resolutions to counter North Korean violation in developing nuclear weapon. Resolution 2397, for example, stated that the United Nations condemned the launching of North Korean ballistic missile, thus implementing various actions such as economic pressure, traveling restriction to North Korean officers, embargo, and so on. Among the countries that apply this restriction are the United States, South Korea, Japan, Australia, and the members of European Union. Apart from that, the regional and international power such as China, Russia, Japan, South Korea, and the United States of America initiate a major regional multilateral forum called as the Six-Party Talk. It is a medium served to mediate the regional and international power with North Korea in concern about the nuclear issue. Besides that, the United Nations Humanitarian Agency will also be put into action. Agencies like Food and Agriculture Organization, World Food Programme, World Health Organization, United Nations Children's Fund, and United Nations Population Fund play major roles and actively involved to improve the life of North Koreans by giving aid and attention in the aspect of health, food security, and disease awareness.
I will conclude all topic just now, and I will summarize and I will conclude it. Okay, so let's start. Okay, to conclude that North Korea must be held accountable for the violation and crime that the state committed as they are eligible under international law as well as the treaties that they ratified. Okay, next, the international community must put a lot of pressure and effort to bring North Korea to justice and to free its citizens from the regime's oppression. Okay, so the United Nations and the international citizen must involve in the situation, which is this only they can give freedom and bring justice to the North Korean citizens that have been suffered for a long time. Okay, we continue. the international community has continued to press the North Korean government to engage with United Nations human rights mechanism and to accept and act on the finding of the 2014 United Nations Commission of Inquiry report on human rights in the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, which found the government committed crime against humanity, including extermination, murder, enslavement, torture, imprisonment, rape, and other forms of sexual violence and forced absorption rape, which is all this crime were refused. The North Korea refused to cooperate, which is what we can say that North Korea refused the blame. They deny it. Yes, North Korea deny all this crime, and which is hard for the UN to do their job, and the North Korea also doesn't want the outside world to interpret to their government, into their business, into their country. So it's hard for international citizen and United Nations human rights to doing their job. Okay, that's all. Thank you, Doctor.